Okay. Call the meeting to order. Have an invitation tonight. Not look like it, so we'll go ahead and start the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any changes to the agenda? No, I believe we republished, so we're good. Okay. Motion?
I move to approve the agenda.
Second. There's been a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Moving on to public comments. This is a time where citizens are encouraged to speak publicly. We request that you come to the podium and state your name and address, speak respectfully, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Do we have public comments tonight? Okay. Moving on to Sexual Assault Awareness Month proclamation.
So, good to be here. April brings Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and April 7th is Wear Chill Day, and April 19th is Wear Your Denim to show your support, just so you all are well informed. If you have any questions, you can sure ask them of me. So, proclamation, Sexual Assault Awareness Month, April 2026. Whereas April is recognized nationwide as Sexual Assault Awareness Month, dedicated to increasing public awareness about sexual violence, supporting survivors, and promoting prevention efforts. And whereas sexual assault is a serious and widespread issue affecting individuals of all ages, backgrounds, and identities, often occurring alongside domestic violence and other forms of abuse. And whereas in Kansas, 977 incidents of sexual assault were reported in 2024, with one rape reported every 8 hours, 57 minutes, and 58 seconds, and law enforcement making one arrest for rape approximately every 2 days, 19 hours, 23 minutes, and 31 seconds. And whereas DVAC provides vital advocacy and support services to survivors of sexual assault and domestic violence throughout the region. And whereas from January through December of 2025, DVAC served 132 survivors of domestic violence across 19 counties who also experienced sexual violence in their relationships, including but not limited to 96 survivors from Saline County and 4 survivors from out of state, with 55 survivors receiving safe shelter services. And whereas DVAC also supported 89 survivors whose primary victimization was sexual assault across 12 counties, not including but not limited to 63 survivors from Saline County and 2 survivors from out of state, and with 21 survivors provided safe shelter. And whereas these numbers do not serve as a statistic, but represent individuals whose lives have been impacted by violence and who show resilience, strength, and courage in their healing and journeys. And whereas communities play a vital role in preventing sexual violence by fostering education, awareness, and culture of respect, while ensuring survivors have access to trauma-informed care and support. And now, therefore, be it proclaimed, the City of Concordia Commissioners, that April 2026 is recognized as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And be further proclaimed that all residents are encouraged to support survivors, promote prevention efforts, and work collectively to end sexual violence in our community.
Thank you very much. Would you like us to sign tonight?
Huh?
Would you like a signature tonight?
Yes, I would like your autograph.
Appreciate all the work you continue to do.
Thank you. I'll give you some of these ones for this office. All right, thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Moving on to our action agenda, the minutes of the March 18th, 2026 meeting. I had two things on the minutes. We omitted, or it was omitted we had two people speaking, one on each property. We need to add those in to the minutes. So I know Katie Jones was one of them on the fire property, and I forget the gentleman's name on the other property, but he was speaking on behalf of Bryson Benny.
There was I had left him out of the executive session and he was included in that, like initially, and then we
Yeah.
added him. So I want to make sure he was included in that also since he attended.
So we'd be seeking a motion to,
I'd move to approve the minutes as amended.
yes.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second to approve the minutes as amended. Is there any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Appropriation ordinance number 6.
I move to approve appropriation ordinance number 6. Second.
A motion and a second to approve appropriation ordinance number 6. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Resolution 2026-22-28, intent to establish RHID.
Mayor and Commissioners, housing remains top priority of the commission, and as a result, we are continuing to work with TransEquity to develop the duplex development on East 11th Street. This is the first step toward the development of the RHID, which is one of the economic development tools that they plan to use to get this project completed. As you recall, we just signed a development agreement with them last May. They've since applied for and received tax credits, and so this will be the next step. City staff has already worked with them to develop the design of their infrastructure, so the water, sewer, street, storm, electrical, that kind of stuff that goes into place. And they still have to get KDHE approval for the water and sewer. They still need to go back through and finish the plating process, but we're well on our way to getting those items done. This RHID will be a little bit different than what we're familiar with at St. Joe. On the St. Joe subdivision, the city took the lead as the developer and we issued bonds, and then we're getting repaid from the incremental tax captured. In this case, TransEquity is going to put forth the funds to develop the property or develop the infrastructure to start with. It will be built to public standard, but it will be managed privately. And then they will also capture the incremental property tax from the new homes that were built to repay them as they go over the course of 25 years. So similar structure on the back end, but the city is not obligated to finance the project up front. So that's the difference in this. This is something that we would support and would be aligned with our development agreement that we committed with them last year and align with the commitment to housing too in Concordia. Doug Hutchison is here in person to speak on behalf of TransEquity, and then Dennis is on Zoom if you have any questions for them.
So first, I heard the microphone's not working, so Dennis is gonna make me talk. And he's very nervous, let me talk, so. First thing. Amy and Tim have been great with us. We appreciate them. We work in other communities. They're top notch. The commission itself's been wonderful. We spend more time figuring out what we're doing than you guys do. So I want to thank you for all that. And like I said, these people have been great. Dennis Hoff is my partner. I think our name's going to end up being Concordia Partners.
Okay.
But I haven't signed anything yet, so we'll see like that. Right now, we're planning to build 11 duplexes on 11th Street next to the elementary school. So 22 units. I got the plans last night, and we're still tweaking on them, but they're around 1,250 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2 full baths. 1-car garage, porch up front, a patio in the back. So I think what we're seeing, they're going to look nice. They're going to look really nice. We're trying to get the pricing down so we can get people to move into Concordia. And we hope, Tim keeps telling me there's a whole bunch of business coming in. We need more and more housing, so we're doing that. The RH, like Amy said, the RHID is needed to help defray some cost, plus help give us an opportunity on the back end. We have some ideas on some stuff to break the cost down and get it even better. That's why we're using it. As soon as I get plans that I'm comfortable with and drawings that I'm comfortable with and the pricing done, I will share that with everybody and show them. But right now, we're actually for the first time probably as excited as we've been in a year of where the pricing's headed and that we hear there's good things coming. So any questions?
I had a question. After the RHID is, after the 25 years, will that streets and stuff come back to the city to maintain?
They can at that time because they're gonna build them to public
Public
standards,
standard,
so that
okay.
that option will exist at that time.
That'll all be part of a conversation to be taking place at that point then.
Oh, yeah.
In 25 years, if I'm still around, we got other problems. So,
These properties will all be for sale.
yes, ma'am.
Because we haven't done an RHID this way, what are the risks that are there with doing it this way instead of us hosting?
It's really actually less risk to the city because we're not fronting the money. So the worst risk is that they decide not to do the project and then we might have to reverse some of the resolutions. A risk maybe that they invest and the homes don't get built and sold, and so then the property taxes are not collected, and so then they're not reimbursed. But really the risk is heavy on the developer, and we appreciate them taking this risk and in order to help us out, and we really hope that it becomes profitable for them and beneficial for us as well.
Thank you. Discussion.
I move to approve resolution 2026-2228.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve resolution 2026-2228. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you so much and thanks for your investment in Concordia.
I'll be back. We'll get her going. That's nice. Thank you again. Thank you.
Thank you all. Really appreciate it.
Oh, he found a mic. Now he talks.
Wait for the right time.
This is cool. This is
Yeah.
really cool. Guys, thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now we will buzz over to the certificate of final inspection for Fort Kearny Street.
Commissioners. The city plans to accept the completed public improvements for the Fort Kearny Street project and at the St. Joseph subdivision project for public use and maintenance. The Fort Kearny project included water main and street extension completed December 2025 and March 2026. The St. Joseph subdivision project included water, sewer, storm infrastructure, and streets completed September 2024. All improvements were finalized following required inspections in accordance with the city regulations. The construction observation and final inspections conducted by Campbell and Johnson. Yay.
Any questions for Shay?
I move to approve the certificate of final inspection performed by Campbell and Johnson on Fort Kearny Street extension.
Then a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Certificate of final inspection, St. Joseph subdivision.
How come we didn't do this one? Like, this one was done, it's like completed a long time ago, it slipped through the cracks.
Yeah, just a step that was missed, and we recognized it when we got to doing the work on
The other one.
Fort Kearny Street. Yes.
I move to approve the certificate of final inspection performed by Campbell and Johnson at the St. Joseph subdivision.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Moving on to reports, managers report.
Hearing Commissioners, last week was full of travel and community engagement. I got to participate in the USD through 33rd Street Planning Meeting #2. Also participated with Senior Interview Day, which is a lot of fun visiting students and sharing about career development. We also attended the Van Hansen Forum Roundtable discussion in Hayes and got to present on our St. Joseph subdivision housing project, and that was also well received. Giving that presentation 5 times, 12 minutes apiece is a lot different than 1 45-minute tag team discussion like Dave and I did last year. So, but it was a lot of fun. And also had League of Kansas Municipality governing body meetings last Thursday evening and Friday morning. A lot of that time was spent focused on legislation, and one of the bills that I want to highlight for you was the Senate sub for House Bill 2745, which is the comprehensive property tax bill. It was passed by both the House and Senate, is on the governor's desk awaiting her signature. The league did request a veto of that bill because there are things in there that are going to make it a lot more difficult as we work through our budgeting study session effective this year. So a couple of the key points, and I know we've sent you out information about this, but just to keep it in front of you, one of the components of that bill is that cities could not exceed the threshold for property tax revenue beyond a 3-year average of consumer price index or 3%, whichever is lower. So we might say we had $100 in revenue last year. We want to have $103 this year, but if the consumer price index ends up being 102.50, we couldn't go over 102.50 as an example. There's also a petition process to approve the budget. So if, for example, we end up exceeding that consumer price index of 3% based on the revenues that we need to operate, our budget would be subject to a protest petition. So every property owner within the city limits would have an opportunity to do a protest petition. If that is successful, then we would be reverting back to our R&R rate, which means that instead of asking for 103%, we would be at $100, I guess. Instead of 103, we would go back to $100 and no questions asked, do not pass go, there is no second chance.
What was the threshold for petition, 5 or 10%?
10%.
Okay.
10% of registered voters, 10% of registered voters in the taxing jurisdiction, and they have until September 15th to register that protest petition.
Okay.
So registered voters, even if they didn't vote prior.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. And I believe that they could use, like, there's a specific protest petition form that the county clerk would make available, but they could also get their tax appraisal statement and sign that and turn that back in, and that would count as a petition signature. They could also make copies of that statement, and each person in their household could signature would count. Also, those that are not property owners, so that would include tenants. So if you had a landlord that received the property statement and that also went to the tenants, he could make copies, and the tenants could also sign if they're registered voters. So it makes the threshold fairly low for a protest petition. There's also no protection for bonding debt or economic development tools. So what this would mean is that if we had a project on our CIP and we wanted to do another mill and overlay, and in this just a few weeks ago, you approved some new bonds to mill and overlay East 7th Street from Matthew over to Cloud, and we included a mill and overlay on West 11th Street and Highland Drive. We had to bond for some of that money. And if, for example, we had to bond for money and we had to back it by the full faith and credit of the city, and we had to increase the mill levy to be able to do that, that would be subject to protest petition, and we may not be able to do as much as what we had been doing. So I'm not saying that very clearly. If we have to raise property taxes in order to do a mill and overlay street project, for example, we may not be able to do it under this structure because it might be subject to protest petition, and then we may not be able to do that work. It's also going to make it harder for economic development tools. So right now we have several tools at our disposal that allow us to abate property taxes for a certain period of time, and then those properties come back onto the tax rolls. So one example of that would be a TIF district that we did with Walmart and a lot of the businesses along Highway 81. That district is now expired. So what happened is when those buildings were built, the new property tax revenue went into a bucket of money. We used that for some new projects to help further that growth and improvement. And then at the end of 20 years, the property taxes that those businesses paid stopped going into that project fund bucket and were distributed to the taxing entities. Same thing with our rural housing incentive district, the RHID, like what we just passed here. For a certain number of years, the new property taxes generated by those new homes will go into a bucket of money to repay. In the case of TransEquity, repay their investment into the infrastructure. In our case, repay the bonds that we issued to build a new subdivision. Once those RHIDs expire and those properties come back on the rolls to be distributed to the new taxing entities, it's going to be treated as revenue, property tax revenue to the taxing entities, but it won't be treated as new growth. There's no exception for new growth. So that's going to contribute to our 3% cap when those come back on the tax rolls if this passes. which is completely counterproductive to what the state has been advocating for the last 5 years related to business and home growth across the state. So that's one major reason why the league is requesting a detail of this. It also continues to include all the revenue neutral rate rules. So the rules that have been in place for the last 3 or 4 years with respect to revenue neutral rate, the public hearing, all of the mailings of notices, all of those things will be in play in addition to the new rules of the cap and the president's petition and no new growth. So those are all major components that are in this tax bill. Any questions?
Lots.
No. There's several other bills that we're watching too, several that will relate to building development and zoning, but we don't have enough information on where those are landing yet to really discuss them. But this was the big one. Last couple of things that I'll share. If you want to read the April edition of the Lady Shirley Society papers, they were just published out today. They give a great nod to property maintenance by the way of beautification. They mentioned the downtown beautification and how that was established and already started back in the 1870s, 1880s, turn of the century. And then they also give a segment and a nod to our housing development at the St. Joseph subdivision. And one thing that I learned is 100 years ago, a spec home was built in Concordia, Kansas at West 11th and First Avenue. And it was built using local contractors, furnished with local goods. And they had an open house for several weeks for people to walk through it, check things out, buy the home, and even buy the goods right out of the home. So for 100 years, the concept has been in place, and history is repeating itself 100 years later, which is kind of cool to be a part of that legacy. Last thing to report, we were awarded historic tax credits for the Brown Grant for the window replacement project to the tune of $100,000. So that was very welcome news. I'll meet with Melissa later. I'll be speaking. We'll determine our action plan with respect to that project. That's all I have for you.
Good stuff. Moving on to staff reports.
Just wanted to share on the way here tonight, got a email that guy says is done with the pool roof. Wasn't as bad as could have been. Even they found some stuff that they really hadn't seen in the area, the way it was constructed. So, but they only had a patch, framing wise, couple small parts of it, so not the whole thing, but they just finished that today. So the amount will be probably the next commission packet, but it wasn't as bad as the original thought, so. Good.
This afternoon at the courthouse, we had an active shooter tabletop. Fire department was there, different entities, the sheriff's department and other entities from around the area. And we thought it went pretty well and had some good conversation on how to respond. So.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I just want to update you a little bit. Over the past 2 weeks, our department has completed a variety of building inspections, permit reviews, and construction oversight activities in support of safe, compliant, and occasionally entertaining development. Building inspections, 12 completed covering residential remodels, minor commercial projects, and 1 experimental treehouse. Approved with caution and a small disclaimer about squirrel occupancy. Permit reviews, we had 15 permits processed, all documentation reviewed thoroughly, including 1 request for a slide instead of stairs. Still under consideration. Construction oversight, 8 active projects visited, ensuring walls remaining upright, doors open in correct direction, and rooftops are not attempting to escape. Our updated inspection efficiency standards implemented last week are already yielding promising results. Requests are now prioritized using a readiness and paperwork accuracy score, which appears to improve contractor optimism by roughly 12% and reduces creative improvisation during inspections. Friday inspections now include a Friday afternoon hero check, where contractors completing projects on time and with proper documentation receive verbal congratulations, a thumbs up, or an optional high five from the inspector. Exceptional creativity and humor in the field may earn extra recognition, including applause from staff if deemed appropriate. Sorry. Documentation review now flags submissions that are too artistic, including one blueprint featuring a car wash and a garage. It has been politely returned for revision. Compliances across all projects remain excellent. Projects are following improved plans, timelines, and safety protocols. Minor deviations were observed, including a slightly crooked fence post, a door installed upside down, and one staircase that may or may not lead directly into a swimming pool. Contractors continue to show high levels of cooperation and enthusiasm, sometimes exceeding expectations for promise, especially if bribed with coffee and compliments. Our Friday afternoon hero recognition is going off good soon. Looking ahead, department priorities include supporting safe and attainable housing development, maintaining predictable inspections and permitted timelines, ensuring all ongoing projects remain compliant with the building code, continuing to streamline inspection efficiency while encouraging creative within reason, ensuring all structures remain properly grounded, both structurally and emotionally. Continue to award Friday afternoon hero recognition to outstanding contractors and staff as appropriate. This concludes my report. I would be happy to answer any questions or accept congratulations for completing all the projects upright, paperwork in order, and moral high during inspections.
Happy April Fool's
Happy
Day.
April Fool's Day.
Thank you, Greg. Any other staff reports?
I had a request to look at budget meeting dates, so. July. Last year we had July 14th and 16th, which was a Monday and a Wednesday, and we did it at 3 p.m. And on the Wednesday one, we didn't really have much to talk about. And then we kind of, I don't remember if we dispersed before our meeting, but so do we want to do the 13th and the 15th following that same structure and do 3 and possibly study session after the meeting? In case we don't have that much to talk about. Or we can do 3 o'clock both days again, also do both of those days work, whatever you think. I usually just want one day in between to change or get information or whatever, but anytime in that week works, so.
I believe I'm leaving town on the 16th, so the 13th and the 15th would be pretty workable for me.
Same for me.
And you said the 15th would be 3 o'clock also.
Well, that's up to you. It could be a study session after the meeting. This last year, we didn't have much of anything, if anything, and we'd already said we were meeting, so we met, but it was very short and we waited. So either way, I can't guarantee that it'll be that short again, but.
Sure. We could do a study session. I think that would be appropriate.
Will we know much more about the impact of that House bill by then?
We will, they'll be back veto session April 9th and 10th, so yeah, we'll know very soon.
And we can modify it if that's needed with that additional information, but I think just that official sounds workable.
We'll let Christina.
Okay, Shane.
Give a little update of downtown planning office, 4 more report Tuesday, so we're a third of the way through that project. Last couple of days they've been working on pothole patching, get those squared away. And I think that was, yeah, that's about it. But I just want to give it a little update on that. So
Shane, real quick, it's like the 7 dwarfs. I can remember 3 of the tree varieties, but not all 4, and the 3 that I remember change.
there's
Maple variety, a juniper variety,
Taylor juniper, there's a Armor maple, a Sergeant crabapple, and a Palmer oak tree. I can't remember all the names off the top of my head right now. It'll be tight. They'll be tight trees, so they won't
be tight.
take over the sidewalks. So, but yeah,
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You bet.
Other staff reports. Okay, Mayor Commissioner reports, Marcia?
Just wanted to ask Chief, is there some way we can encourage people to teach their children when they're riding electric scooters to not ride down the middle of the street?
Yeah, so
We're gonna have somebody.
No, I agree, and that's, I'm looking across the state, everybody's having problems with these electric scooters right now. And I'm hoping to find a good ordinance at some point, but no one's really come up with anything, but that is a top priority of ours, is try to treat them accurately like you're riding a bike.
What, I guess that's what I would think that that it would be very similar to bike riding.
Yeah, and that's when we stop and talk to them, as we give them the same bike laws as if they were in, so.
Every spring, we usually send out publications too on bike safety, scooter safety, on social media.
You know, it's fine in areas where there's sidewalks, they can ride there, but.
Yes.
No, they're not supposed to. Is that supposed to be on the sidewalks? Well, they won't get run over on the sidewalk.
But they will crash on a giant crack and almost break their arm.
Right, I mean, that's gonna happen, no matter where you're at.
And I think
But I
that comes
do-
into play means downtown.
Downtown is the. Because people
Yeah,
are
we
waiting.
we usually don't enforce it too much out on other sidewalks, but downtown, we really try to enforce and say that you need to push it as you're downtown, just like your bike, because if someone's walking out of a business and you're, that's where we enforce it a lot.
Any other comments?
This past weekend was I guess the community Easter egg hunt, and also was from the high school, and I think both were very well attended. I did not attend the Easter egg hunt, but I heard that it was a success, and a lot of people volunteered time and items for that, and the city also helped with getting the park cleaned up and ready, and the restrooms ready for that, so we do appreciate that as well.
The only comments I have are to welcome the high school students, and I hope you've had an enjoyable time learning about RHID districts and taxes, and I'm sure you have, but at this point, we're gonna go to executive session, so if you would like to not stick around for that, you're welcome to come and get your papers signed.
You're also welcome to stick around.
You're all welcome. Yes.
I can. Yes. That's okay. Thanks for being here.
Good job here.
Thank you.
No, I'm not. You can be able to have a name. And you can have a name.
It's there.
Number 5. I'll let them know.
Better before than after.
Oh, no, I texted her like, you today, what day, by the way? You're gonna get more. County, please? I don't think I need any more signatures. Maybe. Thank you.
Yeah.
So you know, since somebody's gonna be late.
I'll text us.
I would move that the city commission recess into executive session to discuss employment personnel issues pursuant to the non-elected personnel matters exception KSA 75-4319 B1. Be inviting Justin Farrell in attendance and to reconvene in the city commission chamber at 6:25 PM.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, so sign. Motion passes. We're in executive session. No action was taken.
This time I would make a motion to go into executive session for the aforementioned reason, only the four commissioners in attendance, or to reconvene in the city commission chamber at 6:40 PM.
Second. There's been a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say sign. Motion passes. No action was taken.
At this time, I would make a motion to go into executive session for the aforementioned reason, this time inviting Amy Lang, and to reconvene in the city commission chamber at 6:53 PM. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, executive session. No action was taken. I would now entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Then a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? We're adjourned.